So tonight we're going to be checking out the new Dolce Gabbana Light Blue Love is Love. This is, of course, the newest addition to the Light Blue series, which they have released quite a few flankers at this point. A lot of them pretty controversial. I mean, you don't hear a lot of overwhelmingly positive reviews about these flankers, but we're going to give this one a shot today. We're going to check it out. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs when you can wear it, and ultimately how it stacks up to the other light blue flankers, and if I think this is one even worth checking out. So I hope you guys are ready, and I hope you stick with me until the end of the review, starting off with the overall scent of this fragrance. Now, one thing you'll notice when you look at the note breakdown right away is there is kind of an interesting note in here. There is the note of ice cream in this fragrance, and that's something that I don't think I've ever seen before in a fragrance, at least much less a men's fragrance. That's something different here, and that's something that you will see in the note pyramid. Now, I thought at first, before I had smelled this, oh, that's probably going to be some, kind of weird BS note that's hidden somewhere in the base that you can't even really pick up on. But to my surprise, when I smelled this fragrance, I did get a sweetness from that ice cream note, and that is prominent right when you first spray this one on. So what I do get in the opening is I get some bergamot, I get some grapefruit, I get amberwood, which is a pretty popular and pretty common note, especially here recently, and especially in these aquatic type fragrances. It's kind of like an ambroxan, aquatic-y type of note. And then I also get what appears to be that ice cream note. Now here's the thing with this note, it to me doesn't smell like ice cream. If someone handed me this fragrance and I hadn't looked at the note breakdown and I smelled it, I wouldn't think, oh, it has ice cream in it, right? It doesn't smell like ice cream. But what it does do is it does give you a very prominent sweet smell, and you can definitely tell that there is a note in there that's really adding a lot of sweetness to it. And again, that's prominent right when you first spray this fragrance on. And that was something that shocked me because I wasn't expecting to be able to pick up on that note, or at least especially not in the opening, but I do. It hits you right away, and immediately it kind of sets it apart from a lot of the other light blue flankers out there. It gives it a bit more of a warm sweetness that you don't typically get from these scents. So it does start off fresh and somewhat aquatic, kind of like you would expect from this DNA, and then of course along with that you get a sweetness which is kind of counterbalancing that citrus and somewhat aquatic opening. As you work into the mid and dry down, that pretty much stays the same. It doesn't change a whole lot here. However, what I do pick up on in the dry down a little bit, along with the proclaimed ice cream note, is I get some vanilla, and that vanilla adds to the sweetness overall. And again, you still do have those fresher notes in there. You have the amberwood, you have some musks. So, it's not a straight up sweet fragrance, but it definitely does lean, on the sweeter side of things, more so than you would expect. And again, that vanilla doesn't really come in until you get towards the end of the fragrance stages as you get into the dry down. So it is something different. It's a little bit of a twist on this DNA. We had Light Blue Sun, which was very, very fresh, very aquatic, and pretty strong. We had Light Blue Italian Zest. We've had, a number of different flankers, not even mentioning all the limited edition ones, Light Blue Swimming in Lipari, Light Blue Beauty of Capri, all of those other ones. There's been a lot, and I really don't think that there's been a flanker yet that has incorporated some more sweeter aspects into it like this one does. So for that, hey, that's cool. It's something different here. Now that brings the question, does this fragrance add a whole lot of value to the line, and is this one that I'm personally going to be reaching for a lot? And to be honest with you, probably not. This is kind of like I said in my Invictus Legend review. When I want a light blue, I want a light blue fragrance. And this, while it does still have some of that DNA in here, it does go kind of in that more sweeter route. To me, that makes the DNA a bit more youthful, like they've in a way dumbed it down. Instead of just having a nice, fresh, bright aquatic, they're kind of throwing some sweeter notes in there, probably to make it a bit more mass appealing. For me, that's not what I want from a light blue fragrance, and that's just not something that I will probably reach for here. But again, I do give them props for trying to branch out, create something different, and I do think it smells nice, but it's just not something that I'm overly thrilled about. It's just not something that really is going to fit into my rotation all that much. So when can you wear this fragrance? This one's going to be good for, spring, summer casual. Because it is sweeter, It's not something that I would personally recommend wearing in the high summer heat. Leave it for, on cooler days. Leave it for climate controlled environments. Leave it for evenings if you wanted to. This would make, a nice evening out scent because of that sweetness. I just wouldn't wear it during the day, going to the beach, doing those sort of things like you would with basically all of the other light blue fragrances. This one, in terms of performance, I don't get the best performance from this either. On my skin, I was getting about 6, maybe 7 hours longevity, which isn't awful, but where the issue came in for me was projection. I just couldn't get this stuff to project off my skin. Even if I would go with a few extra sprays, there for a while it would push out a bit more, but not a whole lot. So really kind of let down by the projection aspect of it. Again, longevity 6 to 7 hours for, an aquatic, fresh summer scent. That's not the end of the world. I don't mind that. I wasn't able to smell it off of myself when I was wearing it. That's kind of one of the main things that I like when wearing a fragrance. I want to be able to smell it so I can enjoy it. And when I was doing my normal spray routine on and around my neck region, I just wasn't picking it up. So it definitely doesn't have the best performance out there. There are much better performing ones from the light blue line. For example, light blue sun. That one performs a lot better. Even light blue O Intense, you get better performance out of those. This one just kind of fell flat for me. So do I think this is one you should check out? That's going to be up to you. Again, for me, it's not something that I necessarily recommend everyone to go and rush out and try, or at least definitely don't blind buy it, because right now it is only at retail prices. Once this hits discounters, hey, maybe it's a different story. If you want to pick it up on a blind buy to complete your collection, or just to try it out when it's at about $40, maybe that's a little bit more smart. But at $90, which is what I paid for this one, plus shipping and tax, that's pretty steep for a fragrance that, in my opinion, just doesn't bring a whole lot to the table here. And again, in one of my last videos when I was reviewing Paco Rabanne Invictus Legend, someone was saying you need to review the fragrance for itself, don't compare it to the other fragrances. And, I am comparing this to the other light blue fragrances because it's a flanker, and it's the same with the Invictus fragrance. I look at it as a whole, as like a broad spectrum, if the flanker adds value to the line and if it's worth picking up. And in Invictus Legend's case, I didn't think it brought much to the table at all, really, and it's the same one here. It's something different. It smells different than the original light blue DNA, but do we really need that necessarily? I don't really think so. I don't think we need this like sweetness kind of thrown in here to dumb down what was a great fragrance DNA just to make it sweeter, more mass appealing, and all that stuff. I just don't think that was really necessarily the smartest move and something we need. And again, not discrediting the fragrance in terms of smell, because it does smell nice. It's a good smelling fragrance. It's just nothing too exciting. Of course, it is going to be a mass appealing fragrance that, it's a Dolce Gabbana. That's kind of what they do here. So it is going to get you positive feedback, but keep in mind, a lot of other fragrances from the line will as well. So don't think you need to go out and buy this one because it's going to get you compliments. I mean, the fact of the matter is, a lot of other fragrances can do that, not only from this line, but just elsewhere. Again, I urge you to try this for yourself. Buy a sample of it online. Obviously with the whole situation we're in, you can't just go to Macy's anymore and smell things and, all that type of stuff, which is a bummer. So you're going to have to probably just try to find a sample online somewhere, or just wait until you can go try it in person. Again, I don't think it's necessarily worth rushing out, trying to get your nose on right away, but that's just my opinion. Some of you may feel differently, but that's just kind of how I view it. Again, the scent quality overall is pretty nice. It's about what you would expect from these Dolce & Gabbana light blue fragrances. Again, these are in the mid-range designer pricing, just like Dolce & Gabbana is as a brand for their fragrances. Obviously, right now, $90 at retail is not cheap by any means, as not mid-range, but once this one does hit discounters, that's probably where it's going to fall. And, for that price you pay in terms of quality, it's pretty good. I don't really have any complaints about that. And the question is, will it be a good price once it does hit discounters? If you're watching this in the future and they do have a discounted $40, $45, $50, again, that's going to be totally up to you. It's going to be up to if you like how it smells and if it's something that you can see fitting in your rotation. It's just not something that I will find myself reaching for when I want a light blue, fresh, aquatic fragrance. I'll go for light blue O Intense. When I want a sweeter summer fragrance, I'll go for something like Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche, for example. Guerlain L'Homme IDL Cologne, that's another one. I can name a number of semi-sweet summer fragrances that in my opinion just add a lot more value than this one. So guys, that's pretty much going to do it for me. That was my thoughts on light blue Love is Love. Again, you know, that's just kind of my take on it. That's just kind of my thoughts in terms of the value, price, proposition, all that good stuff, if I think it brings something to the table or not. Again, the smell overall isn't bad, but I do think they could have done something a little bit better here with this flanker. Again, if you've tried this one, let me know what you think of it down below. And also, I will link to some of the other light blue flankers down below in the description as well. If you want to check any of those out, they will be linked to discounters. Some of the best prices around. That's going to do it for me, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night with another one. Take care.